quieten down a bit, get comfy. We do have Mark back, thank God. So I can pass off onto him in just a couple of moments. He wasn't actually skiving, he was getting engaged in Singapore. So I think we'll let him off. Oh no.
I was going to put a slide up. That's okay.
Oh no. Surprise. Sorry, Mark. But yeah, he was off doing some really nice things in Singapore. But yeah, we'll get started. Mark's going to take us through a few updates, which I think I've written now, but I'll let him get on with it.
Alrighty. That's a good rug pull though. Like that's the kind of rug pull where you get good news. But all good. All right. Welcome back, folks. Thanks everyone for coming along. We've got a few presenters today. There's a few updates from the association. If you didn't already know it, I mean, hands up here who remembers that we used to be called the Australian DeFi Association. Okay, a good few, maybe half the room. And for everyone else that's come along that is new, welcome. We will talk about blockchain and AI technology and content. We do a newsletter. We've got the website. I'll show you more of those details here. But first up, I'm going to just quickly run through a few just quick updates from the association. We do this each month. We have presenters on. I see some in the room that have presented the previous ones. If you're interested in showcasing what it is that you're doing in the space, we're very interested in meeting you. So have a chat to us afterwards. So some updates and announcements. First of all, hands up here who knew that Project Acacia, the Reserve Bank of Australia project testing tokenized assets, just completed, did their final report. Hands up. Yep. Okay. A few of you. Very good. Why is that important? It's important because if the Reserve Bank is testing it, it's very likely you're going to see some movement there with blockchain technology. A lot of the projects even used AI. So we're going to see, smart digital economy things happening in Australia is a very innovative place for that. We're one of the first places to really adopt cashless payments. Some countries are still not there. Some countries are ahead, but Australia is definitely a pioneer in that space. So great to see what's there. There's $24 billion in potential annual gains, they say, for Australia as part of the report. And then there's like $320 billion of global stablecoin issuance. There's a lot of movement in the stablecoin space. We are finally getting Australian dollar stablecoins. So a lot of blockchain projects that would have been harder to do before are now easier because there is Australian dollar stablecoin. And for reasons why can't we just use USDC? We can chat about that later. What it means for Australia. So tokenization definitely has a future here in Australia. The ESAs can support tokenized settlement without waiting for wrapped CBDC. So they did earlier testing in 2023, and this is the latest one for 2025. And I know we're in 2026 now, but they started in 2025. So every 2 years they've done something. But it is one of those where they just continue to move the dial forward in terms of how all of this will work. Probably going to be at the banks that are doing and it's the businesses doing tokenization type stuff. It won't necessarily be mums and dads. That'll be up to what happens further on from there. But CBDCs, oh, there we go. Don't know what happened there. Is that an auto? Oh, okay. I don't know. The lights just wet, but all good. Basically, there's going to be some really interesting stuff coming out of there. There's a few things that are unresolved, and there's definitely some key next steps, such as sandbox testing, expanding the industry advisory group. So if you're working in the space and are looking to, participate, there's potential for expansion there and then further consultation. So watch this space, but Australia is really innovating when it comes to blockchain. So get involved. We've got a new website. So what you can see here is thanks to our friends over at Kraken. I'll actually just get this up on the screen so you can see here ozblockai.network. So you can go to that. It's got a few things on there, but one of the new ones, thanks to our major sponsor Kraken, is that you can see on their platform. So it's not CoinGecko, but on their platform, what is the top crypto things going on, whether it's by volume, 24-hour change, etc. There's a few charts. Everyone loves a good chart. So BTC, a lot of people like Solana. Let's take a look at that. Correlations as well. So taking data from various places to get the equities. You can compare, let's go Bitcoin USD versus, in this case, it's Apple. Let's go versus Google. And if you just want to see like what does correlation look like over, those longer periods, that's there. Again, powered by Kraken. The audiobook is there. Everyone loves a good audiobook. I think it's you can sort of see the ladder there. We might change the colors, but the bids and the asks there, as well as what's the latest in terms of what is trading. So this is live. It's using the MCP server that Kraken provide, and they encourage you to build with it. We've even got a competition that I can talk about later if you are looking to do any kind of cool, funky AI building with it. So back to the slides. All right. So April, anyone here from at the last event that came along? Yep. Thank you very much for coming back. So it was a great event. We saw Tim leave right up the back there. Thanks, Tim, showcasing some cool stuff, fighting the good fight against AI slop. David Menz from Stand with Crypto there on the left, and then Arturo from Not Centralized talking about agentic economy stuff. There's going to be updates on the website with the presentations. The recordings are there on the YouTube, so you can see all of that. But some really good insights, and it's part of like why people are coming back to these events, because they're learning, they're networking, they're connecting, and just moving the space forward. So there was also a podcast, if you guys are fans of the group Unblocking the Chain. They're ex-NAB folks. They started something called Jelly C, which is Michael in the middle, and then Macropod on the right-hand side, that's Drew. They are ex-TradFi, but they're really embracing the crypto space. Drew is building at Macropod a stablecoin. It's called AUDM. There's a few other stablecoins out there, Aussie dollar ones, but he's got one of them. And I was talking to him about basically AI and blockchain, a bit about quantum as well, and people being scared of that, but it's too early to really worry about that. Those fears, a lot of fear mongering, but yeah. So that was a good podcast, and worth, not just because I was like on that, but they've got a lot of great guests. They're very well connected globally. So they even had Raoul Pal. If anyone knows like Real Vision, they've had him on the show as well, dialing in internationally. Chris up the back, who doesn't get the love as much, but you will see him later on because he's going to get really down and dirty with AI and brains or something like that. I'm joking. Yeah. Chris built up the back, but we run this other show called Experts in the Loop, and it's all about AI. So Oz blockchain and AI is really at that, sometimes we'll talk only about the AI side of things and how you can be more efficient with what you're doing there. Some cool, clever tips, tricks, interviews with awesome guests. But also there'll be times where it's like, okay, here's how AI and blockchain come together. We'll see some from the presenters today as well. Our guest here, Armina, will be presenting at the next Oz blockchain and AI event. I was about to say Oz DeFi, still got that there. But she'll present at the next one, which is in mid-June. If you've seen the Luma, will be part of the Digital Economy Conference that week. She is over at Minotaur Capital, one of the co-founders of that, and they're using a lot of AI. And I say it, and I still to this day say it, that the way that they've been using AI has been some of the most advanced that I've seen in the space, end to end with what it does. So her and her co-founder, Thomas, they've got some really great insights on the real application of AI into workflows. Oh yeah, and then the engagement part, but yeah. So I was away in Singapore, yeah, doing something. Yeah, thank you. So shout outs to my partner Alana, fiance. Yay. She'll like this part better about it. But yeah, so it was a whole lot of fun, and just helps you remember that it's not always about, remember what you're doing it for, with your friends, your family, loved ones, or the community. Not that you can get engaged to everyone in the community, but yeah, I am very, very happy that I was able to be there while you guys were here having an amazing event. And thanks to Lydia and Chris for running an awesome session in April. All right, that's it for the updates. Going to get over to the talks, and I think the first one up is Ian from Jewel. Come on down. It's not Block V anymore, is it?
No.
Okay. All right. If you want to come on down, are you presenting on that? Do you need slides? Are we switching over?
Switch over.
Okay, I'll stop the share, and then I'll leave this up here. All right. So if you want to
share.
Ian has been, it was Block V before. When did the name change happen?
A couple of months ago.
Okay. Why?
Good question. I'll go through that in the slides.
Okay, great. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm spoiling it out. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Did everyone get a screenshot of Ian's screen? Great. Thank you. All yours.
Thank you. Okay. Dual. Like Mark mentioned, we were recently transferred our branding and our name to Dual, and I'll go through that in a minute. Just really what we've been able to build over the last sort of 8 years is a huge footprint in a varied range of different, let's call it verticals around tokenization, all the way through from customer loyalty. We'll talk about that in a bit in regards to the partnerships we've got with Visa and the Olympics, and more recently FIFA, the FIFA World Cup in 2016, all the way through to now where the speed of the AI agent tsunami, let's call it, and what that sort of looks like in regards to what the importance and the focus of tokenization and where we're able to fill in. So we're going to do a bit of a presentation, and then I've got a bit of a demo to show everyone how it all works in. Just recently transferred from the branding of BlockV through to Dual. It was really just a step change in regards to where we were looking to focus on and open up a lot of the technology. We'd focused a lot more on partnerships and our key partners. Smart Media Technologies has been one of them, and they're the ones that have the partnerships with Visa and the Olympics and so on. And to bring this into 2026 and to be more available to everyone. And I think this is really the part of the journey that probably excites me the most, is with the advent of obviously this agentic revolution. So just a little bit of our backstory in regards to scale. We'll say nearly 60 million tokens deployed over those 8 years, nearly 13 million Web3 wallets. The vast majority of those are wallets that people wouldn't even know were a Web3 wallet, such as the type of use cases that we've sort of targeted over the years, and the simplicity and the sort of the scalability that we try and build our tech with. Okay, I'm just going to get into the crux of what we're going to talk about today, and that's really around this opportunity with AI. I don't know if anyone watches the Moonshots podcast, Pia Diamontis and a few others. If you don't, you need to. These guys are really sort of switched on in regards to where this is going. And it's not just really around the technology side of things, it's more around the shift of what it looks like for society. And obviously we're quite aware that it's obviously going to be a huge one. So the big part of this is that we've just come from an information age. And with the AI abundance and intelligence on demand, the creation of information will be infinite. So before, we were in a situation where we could really, we could trust information that we received. We're in an age now where that's no longer going to be the case, and it's going to be transferring into a verification age. You need to be able to verify everything. Now, Tim was talking about this last month, in regards to how content is easily forged, deep fakes and whatnot. Is becoming highly sophisticated, and it's very much along those lines, in that not so much from our use case standpoint, but everything from what you watch to the information credentials or information you get from an agent of some description will need to be verified. You won't be able to just trust it because of the amount of information and the ability to easily scam and do all sorts of stuff. It will go through the roof. I mean, it's bad enough as it is today, let alone where this is going to go in the next just few years. I was going to play the clip. I don't know if you want to see that. What do you reckon?
It's in the downplay.
See if it plays. If it doesn't.
Yeah, I think we had shared. Yep, but we had to share the sound. Yeah, if you want to just give us the crux.
Oh yeah, I just really what I just talked about, really. But I just thought maybe a bit of, it's not just me saying it. These guys are on the cutting edge. Like Diamondis, I think is an early investor in SpaceX. SpaceX is an Elon Musk sort of confidant on that sort of stuff. So they know what they're talking about. So anyway, just a little bit of a, just sort of balance it out. Yeah. So what's the agent problem we're looking to try and help with? So they need to be governed. And it might sound really boring, but if you think about how agents are going to be used in industry, in business, the risk that these agents now start to introduce is profound. And you'll start to, I think we're already starting to see some really high profile incidents where agents have gone rogue and they've hyper hallucinated, where they've deleted production databases. A friend of mine had 60,000 files corrupted via a security audit. So these things are happening already. So the trust around these types of agents is starting to wear thin. And I think without being able to verify agents, you'll see businesses not able to ensure, not to ensure them, be able to insure agents, to be able to ensure their business processes if they're involved. So the point being is that you need to verify what these agents are going to be doing. So yeah, so all actions, a trade, a transfer, which we'll see in a minute, all the way through to redeeming a gift voucher. All these things will need to be verified. So I think what I'm really getting to is that the total addressable market of blockchain really rises with the total addressable market of AI. And that might sound like I'm being, I'm telling everyone what they want to hear, but I can't see the way that you're going to be able to use this technology without verification, and it has to be on decentralized infrastructure. There's no other way to do it. Okay, just a little bit more about how Dual works. So we have a three-tier architecture around how we manage this. So we have a protocol, a network, and then through to our L1, which we batch them into Ethereum. The Dual network, it's very extensible, very powerful, and it runs around sort of 4 core actions, and that's around templated structures of metadata. So it will define a structure of how you want to capture, whether that's a trade, like I'll show you with Kraken, or whether it's an insurance policy. Depends on what you want to capture and how you want to capture it. So the templated structure is highly flexible to the use case. Off the back of the template, we can then create the objects, which essentially are, if you want to go back in time, NFTs, programmable NFTs that have an array of functionality that you're able to hook into. The actions, as we put here, there's a number of actions that you can then specify that particular object to have, depending on what the requirement is. And that's being able to transfer information or transfer ownership, change states in a workflow. So this is the action flow. The input is always going to be either human entry via an application, which is an SDK, or agents more predominantly through either an API or MCP. The rest of the flow stays the same. It's always structured in exactly the same mechanism. So where Ethereum fits, like I mentioned before, our layer 3 dual protocol is where we talk around where all of our rules and permissions, workflows, and agent mandates are executed. Layer 2 dual network, I didn't change the slide bit there, sorry. So this is L2 is an Arbitrum based L2, which then batches and settles onto Ethereum. So the verification path that I put down here is, so it's off-chain execution. So it's a normal, so the end user isn't impacted by the wallet friction. And that's why we've been able to deliver so many of those wallets and experiences to end users, because of the lack of friction to the user, so that the user interface prior was always through a web application that was easy to use. Just a little bit more about the Ethereum integration and why we've chosen this just we are able to execute at speed, and then use this for the settlement and verification of the transactions. Okay, a little bit more interesting, I guess, is this agent integration. So we've made this AI first, and which we'll see in a minute. And what we've been able to do is deploy a set of tools for users to easily integrate with our protocol and network. We focused the three areas: MCP, which obviously machine contacts protocol. For those that don't know, we can talk about that a little bit in a minute. That's very much for agents, and we'll see a little bit of a really good demo actually as well. SDK, which is the standard for development applications, which I think are going to become fewer and fewer as we move into the agentic world. And then we have a full suite of APIs for seamless development and build. Right, I'm going to get on to the demo. So what we've done is we've taken, like Mark did prior, we've taken the Kraken CLI and we've built essentially a bit of a trading platform, which we wanted to demonstrate creating a trade, and an agent created a trade, and then you'll be able to see that it's able to work within its guardrails. So it creates guardrails around what it's allowed to trade. And then once it meets those verifications, which are all stored on chain, it's then able to execute the trade. And from there, it's able to then, we'll call it mint, but meet the conditions of the trade that was executed, so that there is a verification chain all the way through to Ethereum, where you'll be able to see what that agent did. So, sorry, one sec. Go there in a minute.
Everybody credit demo gods.
Pray to the demo gods. First of all, bit of a quiz. How many lines of code did I write to build everything that I'm going to show you now? Zero. That's right. So the days of writing code are over. And there's a lot of people in this industry that are really struggling with that fact, but it is over, because what I've been able to build in a couple of days has blown my mind. It constantly blows my mind. But this was all using Codex 5.5. And essentially what this is, it's just really a trading. So what we're doing is we're picking up data through the Kraken CLI here, and we can trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Joule, our token that you can buy on Kraken. And what we're going to be able to do is I'm just going to do this through the user interface, and then we're going to use an agent to do it. So I just wanted to show you, because I think sometimes when you see an agent, it's all a little bit, but I thought if we just build out a bit of an app so that we can see what's actually occurring. So what we've done is we've built a policy around what this agent can do, and it has a $250 in regards to they can trade any token, can't use leverage, and it can only do $1,000 a day. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is it's $12. I'm just going to check the policy. Okay, so it's just going to go and find that policy on chain, and then what it's going to do is going to execute a pay. So it's just purely a paper trade. Okay.
What's it doing?
So what it's doing now is place a trade, and it's now going to be minted all the way through, and I'll show you all the way through on our L3, 2, and 1. So we just come in here quickly and just refresh this. Where are you? Okay, it's just spamming. Okay, so if I quickly show here, So this is just moving through. So what I'm just going to show you here, this is the L2 in regards to the transaction. Then zoom. It's sorry, the what's it called, blocking me. Zoom. Sorry about that. I'm going to move that down there. Yeah, and then through, and this is the roll up. And it's just processing. Obviously, this is just on our test net, so it's going through to Sepola. But the point being is that we're able to do this at speed and at scale. Okay, so just going to go to co-work. How many used co-work in here? How many? 4, 5? Should be everyone. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to say, can you give me a demo? So I've connected an MC, I've created an MCP and I've deployed it, and then the agent is going to start to so it is everything that you saw visually. It has access to all of that information. What do you reckon? Should you do a please do a demo trade? So if you think about where trading is going, is that you hooking in these tools, and then you've got, I'm not saying unlimited intelligence, but intelligence at scale that you're able to then start to take full advantage of. And this is the reason why you're going to see all trading will be algorithmic. So it's done a $100 trade.
It is said that the process.
Oh, good. I didn't do any technical analysis or anything like that, but I mean, I just because it is more for the demo. So this is exactly essentially exactly the same as what I did. So if I go back to the, should see it in here. There we go. And again, then we can see the full breakdown of exactly whereabouts it's sitting in its life cycle. So, what I wanted to bring in as well is I wanted to just quickly show you. You may have met Anna a couple of months ago. You did your
2 months.
2 months ago. Anna's building some amazing technology, which is, I'm always very excited when there's someone local that's building out in this space. The polymer product is very much a knowledge worker surface. So rather than it just being a chat interface that we just seen through co-work, this is more around the surface and being able to collaborate. So if you want to come on and just, you can start to it. So this is how cool it is. Go on, do you want to, you
I'm not super prepared. I mean,
no, just show your curse step.
Okay.
And I'll do that. I'll do that.
So it's a multiplayer experience. So the core kind of value prop is, if it loads on my side, you should be able to see my cursor. Hi guys, and I can start it right here. Hello. Or even add my own agents on here. So for example, Canva with the Hyperliquid.
Can you get up just so for the reporting another one?
Okay, yeah, cool. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, cool. Pre-lab. So technically, it will be way cooler if, say we're in actual different locations. Say I'm at home, he's in the office. Let's say we want to collaborate with agents together, do some brainstorming, or even actually get it to execute. Say like some kind of coding imperative. Yeah. Yeah. So you could basically do it all through separate computers, but you're kind of collaborating on one shared surface.
Yes. This demo is not going to do this product justice. Thank you, Anna. But this is the, like I say, it's fantastic that we've got someone in our midst that's building this sort of technology. Just quickly, so I've got through this product, I've got a connection through to the dual, just to the straight dual MCP. So we can say, please tell. Alt hint test. And we hooked this up whilst we were sitting there. So this shows you how adaptive and awesome this technology is. So fingers crossed. Probably needs to be more descriptive about that. But anyway, whilst we're waiting for that, I feel what we've been able to demonstrate here is the ability to go all the way through from an agent and a surface such as Polymer, all the way through to Ethereum in regards to the way that transactions are able to be created. Did it? No. All right. Anyway, we did quite get there, but we will. But anyway, the point being, it's amazing. So have a chat with Anna because there's a massive opportunity here. Yeah. So going all the way through from an agent or a surface such as this, all the way through to Ethereum. So that's that real ability to see this integration between how tight it can be between AI agents and blockchain, and how they are literally hand in glove moving forward. So yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
No.
We're behind. So.
Behind, sorry, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, that was really useful, and I think obviously this is a theme going forward, that integration between obviously blockchain and AI, which Vincent is also going to build on. He's up next, and he'll be talking us through. I mean, he's going to explain it a lot better than me, so I will just take the floor.
I'm gonna stay. So yeah. Oh, so well, all right.
Okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Vincent, and yeah, I think the product you see is actually kind of close for a topic. We didn't like come up with each other. We're just like, yep. And yeah, today we're going to share about AI agents and how to make the defines better from an engineer perspective. So before that, I want to do a quick intro. I've been working as a full stack software engineer in Hong Kong for 5 years, mainly building on blockchain DeFi products. So yeah, running code. Yeah, it's over, by the way. And so what I built is actually most like perpetual decks and spot decks and limit order decks as well. And recently I just moved to Sydney for doing my master, specializing AI and cybersecurity. And I want to quit my job, by the way, so I laid off myself, Yeah. And For my hobby, I love playing volleyball, guitar, and yeah, doing travel. That's the picture on Karma. Yep. So, before we start, quick question, everyone. Do everyone know like how much value is locked in current DeFi right now? Like the total value, like the money. So it basically around more than 150 billion right now. So we do have tons of liquidity. And before, as an engineer, we thought like liquidity means more user. And more user will come after you got huge liquidity. That's every protocol did when they start launching their product. And but I think right now the truth is not that. And liquidity just first step. So what makes user like don't use any interface, especially like user when they haven't using any DeFi. Um, Maybe the interface might be the one of the product that we have to fix. And because right now we got a lot of terms in DeFi. And as an engineer, like slippage, gas fee, and we have approved tokens. There's tons of stuff. The learning curve is so high. And basically every step for user is kind of they put a give up to use our DeFi. And we try to build something most open, decentralized financial system in history. But sometimes it seems like require PhD to get user to use it. And we have to explain every step. So yeah, and I think that's what agent can come to help user to fix all the stuff. Um, but as I say, it's not a lot of like a new idea. It's been happening for a few times. So why this like current time is the kind of good places to work this part. For example, like LM is getting one more powerful right now. It actually gets your intent and especially like complicated um trading decisions. And we all say right now, as a coder, the most program like powerful language is English, and I think for trading as well, and for a lot of part as well. And so the other one is, as you say just now, because we got more agents infrastructure recently. We got like a multi-agent framework, which is huge for trading because we need like a whole team to do it. Analysis, chart analysis, and really like strategy, and also with the executor and trade as well. Um, so with all those things, and we need some MCP server because we build stuff for human before, and right now we need all those MCP for agents. They can read all those like graphic UI, and also like for crypto market, it's very important you can create agent that help you to take care like 24/7 because we all know like crypto market it's not like stock market. You can take a rest, but our crypto market it's actually having huge thing every week, and it finally can actually run like a complicated uh, actions with all those agents instead of just using bot to monitoring or alerting where you at night. And yeah, I think that's the other the other thing that actually can help for all those DeFi user. And the other one, it's actually we got to know every time engineering focus too much on technology, whether the market actually love it or not. And we seeing those a lot of trading bots is right now, and Trojans and banana guns and gunk bot. Those are actually rewarding. So it means like user prefer like simple experience, like chatting experience when they're trading. It's easier for them to do instead of just like open the computer, like going to App Liquid and just do stuff. Um, so for that, it's actually no hypothesis that user actually love this like Asian chatting experience. The market already showed it. They're really into it, and those three things actually chose like we should use agent like make it more easier for non like web user. All right, so I will show you some product we built recently. It's called Mason Tree. It's actually very it's more products based on Hyperliquid. And the reason we use Hyperliquid is because it's fast, obviously. Everyone love it. And it got a lot of NCP action for it. The agents can basically using their data to do analysis and also do chatting as well. But I definitely think there's a lot of improve, but we're gonna show like my first step to build product like this. Okay, wait. Okay. So very simple. So this hyperliquid, you know, and it's actually just an extension, because I want to make the agent to see the chart as well. So basically, I'm using like basically let's trade a king to BTC. So analyze BTC in 2 weeks. What's the trading key levels and the trading recommendation. Um. So the agent here's we only using like 4 sub agent. We're using analysis, strategy, and trader executor. That's forced. But I definitely feel like we can make it more agents instead of just it. Yep. Okay. Finger crossed again. Yep. Short exclamation. And we also adding the language, natural language processing, voicing function as well. I definitely think it should be like mobile experience instead of just extension, but that's just first product we built on this chain. And it actually showed me there any overlap like 2 weeks, and based on it, it can add the how many right chart as well, and sort of like that. Yep. So I think this is one. Okay. Yep. So yeah, as I said, this is actually not a new idea, but with agents help, it actually can connect all those DeFi like station, like all those dots. Because yeah, it's too decentralized right now. Like great agents can actually help a lot on this part to connect those things. We spent a lot of year building the race. It's time to like connect things using agent as a train. So okay, so that's it. By the way, if you need any technical help or just want to buy a coffee, just DM me. Yeah, I would love to do it. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy.
Fantastic.
Yep, sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, we'll switch back. Thank you. If I could get, actually, we need a higher chair rather than just us standing. Chris, could you get grab a chair? Lydia's up on stage. And then if you want to grab the mic, and we'll see if that other one works. So really interesting stuff there, folks. There is a whole heap of talented people, whether they are flying in from overseas to come join us, or they're here amongst us. I think it's really interesting what is going on in the space. I'm gonna have to connect again. Yep. If you just one other mess. Yeah, is it connected? Okay, cool. And then Chris, could you do the share screen? If you just hit the share screen, give me the code again, just so I can join in. Oh yeah, great, thank you. Good old Zoom. Anyone remember a cool old, I say old because a lot of governments would use it, software called WebEx? Anyone remember WebEx? Apparently, WebEx have very funky, cool, looks better than Zoom, is better than Zoom in many ways, technology. They're making a comeback. So you never know whether it's AI that's driven it or not. I find it fascinating that some old school tech, and I'll talk about some old school tech, HTML over Markdown. We'll talk about that on the AI side of things. But we'll just go back to screen share. All right. Slideshow. Sorry to just roll through it again. Oh, look at that. Going backwards. All right. Okay. Content coming soon. No slide for this one here. But Lydia, how's it going?
Good, thank you all. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I don't remember exactly when it was, but you joined this community a few months ago. Do you remember when was your first one? Was it last year, late last year, mid last year?
I think it would have been over a year ago now, so
Okay.
maybe early 2025.
Okay. Oh wow. And what back then you weren't working in the space, but now you work for who?
I work for KuCoin now in our business development team.
Shout outs to hands up the KuCoin folks out here. Are they still here? Have they left? Ah, damn it.
Yes,
Okay.
around me.
All right, that's fine. The KuCoin have done some cool things here. They did a giveaway one of the previous events, so watch this space for them. We'll probably do some events or two with those guys. So keep an eye out of that. But what's it like now? Going from where were you before, by the way?
I was in accounting, so I've definitely had the DAX as guy.
Any other accountants here? No other accountants, yeah. Hey, I'm former accountant too. But in terms of like that work that you were doing before versus now, I guess that the key thing I'd love to get you to share with the audience is like, what has that been like? Is it night and day? Are there a lot of similarities? I mean, what are some of the key things that you can, that are like just right in front of you? Someone like me is asking, what's it like working in blockchain?
Yeah, I guess it is night and day. It's two completely different worlds in a way, but I think with a lot of important overlap, a lot of things you could take from the accounting world and that both very closed analytical way of looking at stuff to the bullshit space, which I think you have to kind of have your eyes wide all the time. My role before was obviously accounting. My role now is business development. A lot of that is networking and sales, working with institutions. So it has been a completely different role for me and completely different environment to work in. But yeah, I think in the decision I'm in, it's involved a lot of conversations with institutions. And I think even though we're a bear market, it's really exciting and encouraging to see how much interest there is in the space and kind of sort of strategies are really developing and solidifying whilst BTC is down. Voted out.
It is down. I think this it's quite telling for a space. I've heard from when Arturo and I started. We were there at an exciting moment. And then we obviously had FTX and Terra Luna and all these things that happened that really crashed the market. And the numbers did dwindle in terms of people. That we didn't get as much at the events. But what was interesting was that there were people still coming along because they saw that there's all this technology underneath. There's the future rails of finance underneath. I think that there's going to be this future where people just realize that, okay, if a payment system isn't using blockchain in some way, shape or form, then it's got weaknesses. And I think a lot of the proving that's going on with the RBA, what's going on overseas is really helping there. But what are some of the things do you have like any kind of tips or tricks or like things that is it a mindset kind of shift that people need to have if they're looking to work in the space?
Yeah, no, so I think for that, let's touch back on your point in terms of the network effect. That's probably one of the biggest things to say at the moment. Exchanges, I guess, throughout the history of blockchain, all these innovations being like very siloed to a certain extent. Exchanges are kind of where you trade. You have DeFi innovations, NFTs, it's all being very fragmented. What I'm seeing at the minute, particularly in this market, is for us, we work with a lot of remittance providers, and it's about kind of connecting our technology and the infrastructure we have with the infrastructure payment providers. And that's kind of come about with the renaissance of stable coins. And Mark's obviously very across this with RBA and Berlekisha. So I think it's really promising to see how these kind of separate projects and innovations are really grouping together now, and yeah, those bridges are being made. So yeah, sorry, that was a massive
No,
tangent from what I was going on.
no, all good. To your fellow accountants, because the funny thing is that there's been various conferences, like a lot of industries, like I work in the legal space. We'll talk more about that later. There's accountants that they have their conferences, and I remember it was like interesting that I saw like this accounting conference, and I got invited to speak at with some other accountants and people in the blockchain space, but they wanted people in blockchain to talk to them at this conference because what happens when things are done on chain? What happens when reporting is done on chain and you can just it's a new thing to have to look up Etherscan or the various block explorers to see what is going on. But for your fellow accountants, do you have some tips for them to, how do they get their head around blockchain? It's not just like crypto. It's not just scams. There is very little scams, but what kind of things do you have as messages for your fellow accountants?
Yeah, I guess it's trying to really understand the problems or the blockers you're having in that role. And for me, it's kind of then looking outside of the small world you operate in and seeing what could prove that. Blockchain is obviously kind of a natural answer to a lot of things. Even in accounting, blockchain naturally is good for reconciliation. It's good for data storage and how that have a useful ledger of transactions. And I think it's kind of it's just it's a natural upgrade for that industry as it is with so many other industries. But I think for accountants, you work with numbers, you work with a lot of databases, you work with a lot of legacy systems. And I think if you kind of can get the time to learn a little about blockchain, understand kind of what problems it innately solves, you can see how this is basically another ledger. It's another system, but it operates obviously in a completely nuanced and more efficient way. So yeah.
I think what the guys said as well earlier, that it's all about verification, and I think that's really key. Whether it's Tim talking about it last month, you guys talking about it like today, the age of verification is there, and what better space to kind of have that than accounting, especially because I'm a former auditor. So when I said accountant, I meant I was worse. I was an auditor. Sorry to fellow auditors here, high in the room, but that's a space where you would have to sample things because it took too long for a human to do the work. Now you've got AI, so we can just do all of it in an instant, sort of. But now it's not just that AI can actually help you do the work, but you've also got this ability to have verified things happening. So the type of analysis, the forensics, so to speak, that auditors will have to do when they're testing if a company is doing, the right thing, can the audit partner sign off? It's going to be different when you can verify. So I think that's going to be a really key change, and more of the message that you've got from moving over to this space is going to kind of happen there. So what are you looking forward to as you can see, because you're only 2 months in, so just very fresh into the world of emerging technology, working in that space. What are you excited about and looking forward to for, say, the rest of the year?
I think it's buildings and it is understanding and kind of staying aware to all projects that are coming about. Even within the last month, we've had 2 very serious RWA projects that are fully operational and ready to launch. Coming to us obviously for listing and for Rise integration. RWAs is obviously a conversation that's been ongoing for years. And I think that a lot of things this industry, people hypothesize, they theorize ways that the technology could take that industry to a new place. But it always takes a long time to build that and actually get there. And it is really cool to see that actually coming to fruition. I think the next year, 2 years is similar to kind of what we exposed to stablecoins and digital assets in general. Those RWA projects are going to innovate. They're going to have a great product. And then the regulation is going to come in. I think it's that push and pull kind of dynamic that it's natural to every innovation that happens in the space. So yeah, hopefully that kind of path is or becomes clearer, and there's a framework in place for those projects to actually add some real value to society, consumers, and business.
Love it. Lydia, thank you for, I guess, sharing part of your journey. If you guys are, also interested in just like talking to Lydia about, this move from traditional kind of work, I won't say traditional, the non-emerging tech, it's not,
The boring world.
yeah. And for some of us that are in that like boring world, like hopefully you are at least getting to use some cool stuff in the new world, AI and blockchain. But Lydia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
If I could get Chris up on stage, Chris to the principal's office. Chris is normally behind the camera. You know what they say, the cameraman never dies, that sort of thing, invincible, blah, blah, blah. Come on down. I don't know what that means. All right, Chris is going to present. Are you already in?
I think I'm already in.
Okay. Let's do this. All right.
Chris is wearing fashion from the 90s. Oh no. Alrighty. When you're ready. My which is me? No, it's that. Yeah, I'll stop the share. Can you share yours? Share. All right. What are you going to talk about today, Chris?
I'm gonna. What is it coming up? Could I time this right?
Yes.
Building a second brain.
What? So
Which
for
I
those that
need
don't
desperately.
know, Chris actually does need a second brain.
True.
It's traumatic. He was born with. I go, Chris.
A question was asked earlier: who uses co-work at all with Claude? Well, there's a few more hands this time. It was only 4 last time. I think people built some confidence up after you said that. Who here has built I'm going to call it a brain or a sort of information database about themselves within any kind of AI tooling? Couple hands. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm not going to just be talking to 1 or 2 people. I had that fear going up here talking about this. So you may have heard this term getting thrown around quite a bit, particularly on social media. We all know Andre Karpathy obviously just signed up with Anthropic, one of the original founders with OpenAI. About 2 months ago, he came up with coined the term, I think it was, the second brain, which essentially is just, I guess, a database of information about yourself that the AI tool can tap into to be able to provide you with better outcomes. And obviously with the release of co-work, having something like this, the second brain, is more relevant and more powerful than ever. I was originally going to get up and talked about a method that, well, not a method, but me building it with Karpathy's GitHub repos and essentially other things. But then I came across this YouTube video from a guy who I recommend you follow if you love AI and learning about AI. Ben AI. Don't know him, some guy from overseas, but he built pretty much this entire process for you to go ahead and build your own second brain. So I'm going to step through a couple of the methods that he's gone through, the skills that he's created for that, and then talk a bit about the sort of purpose and why this is a sort of powerful thing for you to do. So essentially, building a second brain allows you to stop from starting every session with 0. Who here has at least built projects within Claude or within ChatGPT, building GPTs to help you initiate stuff? Yeah. You have a few hands there. So you build projects, right, to help create context or create actions and tasks so that when you action things, it gives you, some kind of the output that you expect without having to go through reframing every single time. Creating a second brain kind of allows you to do that without having to create projects and create, MD files. You're creating an engine that is essentially constantly learning about you, about the work you do, about the business that you have, and can even enable you to share that and have other people feed into that to give you more insight about your business, to allow you to then create better brand campaigns, create better content, to be able to understand what your businesses are doing and have daily tasks running so you can build up your own workflows and your own sort of activities that you're doing every morning. So this is essentially something that continually learns and adapts and builds and gets better over time. It allows you to build a system that is repeatable so that your AI is improving all of the decisions it's making, all the outputs that it's having. And also, as I mentioned, bringing better team alignment. So everyone's able to potentially work from the same shared contacts, or if you want, you can run them in solo. So instead of hunting it through stacks of information and drives of documentation, you're able to just have this one brain that you can tap into and reference every time you want to, understand or do something. So this is kind of what my setup looks like. It's a bit of a confuddling of information there. You may have heard of Obsidian getting used a lot. Essentially, this is sort of like the front end visualizer for a lot of the brain for you out to see the content, the information that has been created. Obsidian is essentially a node tanker that also has the ability to create the connections between a lot of the files that you are inputting or it's reading. So here I have sort of Obsidian. I tend to use Google Drive. This stops me from having to pay for Obsidian every time I switch computers. It also means that I can plug any sort of system, any LLM from any computer into that sort of database of information to be able to utilize it. I've got a little N8N instance that's going through a relay to, so if I've got something I want to type into Telegram as a memory or an action, that plugs straight into my Obsidian or into my brain. Obviously, folders of files. There are Obsidian attachments you can have to Google Chrome. So if you watch a YouTube video, you can essentially take a shortcut, plug that straight into your brain. I have then a CLI, which is doing constantly the ingestion into the brain, and then Claude Code I can then tap into through Cowork. That's constantly talking between sort of Google Drive and Obsidian for my daily actions and tasks that I talk about. But obviously, that's just a big picture. I'm going to kind of show you how you can go about building this really, really easily. You do not have to be expert. You don't really even have to know how to use Claude Code. It's a couple of steps, and the skills that this Ben AI character has built allow you to do it just by following through the prompts that it then summarizes. So let's kick things off. Kind of like the setup that you're going to need. So on the right here, you're going to need Obsidian. You're going to need a Claude Pro or a Claude Max plan, or even you could potentially do this within Codex as well, or within Claude Code. You need some kind of stable folder that is a consistent location. You don't want your files to be jumping around. You got things like OneDrive and other drives where potentially the folders are constantly changing names or extensions are constantly changing. It's not going to help. There is a bunch of plugins in these skills, which we'll go through. You'll create if you want to create an MCP to allow any kind of LLM or any of your team members to tap into this brain, you'll need to create a relay for that. And also to host that MCP, you'll need a Railway account, which costs a little bit as well. On the right side, the skills that we'll be running through, there's a setup skill, an operator skill, an optimizer skill, TeamOS, and an MCP. And I'll go through those separately now.
Don't you mean the left side?
On the right side. Left side, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, take a screenshot of that. You could probably throw that into Claude and just edit to help you do this.
100% you could, yes. And I'll talk about something I did towards the end for exactly that. So first thing is the setup. Now, if you did take a shot of the Ben AI thing at the start, one of his videos has the link in this. If you want me to send you the files directly, because I think you have to drop your email in to get these files, I'm more than happy to just shoot you these files directly so you don't have to sign up to anything. So very, very easy. Hopefully this ad tab works. You'll end up going and downloading a bunch of skills, which look exactly like this. It's just a zip folder. Sorry, I'm actually in the zip. It's just a zip folder called obsidian.zip. Great thing about Claude is that uploading skills is super, super easy if someone has already built them for you. Let me just jump to Claude, sorry. So within here, you'll go to Cowork. This Cowork is now where you'll be living and doing most of your activities if you're going to be setting up brains like this. Does anyone know the difference between Cowork, Chat, and Claude Code? Most people know, a couple of nods, not much. Essentially, the difference is Chat is great for your general conversations, your deeper research, building out projects. It's got a deep access to the web and other tools like your general kind of LLM. Cowork is much more targeted at running information from local files to be able to connect and do the things that you need to connect, setting tasks, schedules, etc. So it's much more about you than the actual general chat is. And Claude Code's obviously Claude Code if you've used that before. Cool. So there's a function here called customize. You go to skills, and you literally all you have to do is go create skill and then upload. And all I need to do is go to my folder with this zip file and and just drag it over. It's a bit of thinking. Whoop. Oh, we've got a bit of a bug error here.
Didn't pray to the demo gods.
I didn't pray to the demo gods. Exactly that.
Didn't create an offering of something.
That should definitely work. Let's try that. Why is that?
Has anyone created their own skill, like using the Claude skill to create a skill? Has anyone done that? Yep, a few of you.
That's really annoying that it's not working. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Here's one you prepared earlier.
I'm going to extract it. Actually, I wonder if my other files are here. No.
Whilst Chris is extracting that one,
That should be able to do that, because this is exactly how the instructions are.
Is this how you know like it's authentic? Is this sex?
I don't know. Okay, I don't think it can have folders though.
Try again.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Open it up. Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yeah, right.
Here's one you prepared earlier, or no?
Well, yeah, okay. So I haven't. I was really because it takes a couple of seconds for the skills to burn up, which is super annoying. Give me 2 secs.
All right. Well, whilst Chris is doing that, does anyone kind of like have? I'll book some demo stuff after this, and then we'll get to like some networking. But does anyone have any questions about Claude, Codex? You know what's going on screen? Yes, sir. We're looking member of the tie.
Tie Tuesday. Can you do this with a Microsoft Suite, or is it mainly pertaining to Google?
Probably not using this method. You can do similar things, but probably not using the brain method. No, but I see. Yeah.
I'm guessing that your question is because in the highly regulated world of law, Copilot is where you guys are mainly looking in, like the Microsoft kind of suite boundary and that kind of stuff.
HDBT.
That's needed, but it would be that other people got like either M365 personal subscriptions yourself or into that. Not necessarily went into Copilot, but yeah, person, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think they have that yet. I'll come down to Tim while Chris is still wrestling with AI. I don't think they're doing that just yet, but I think that there will be some followers, Codex from OpenAI and then Claude Code. Tim.
I guess my question is relating to the context window as the second brain, as to how deep you can actually go. Because within Gemini and within ChatGPT, after a certain period of time, the further you go away from the source material, the more you get hallucinations and errors. What's your experience on that side?
So there's a way that you can get around it, and I was actually going to touch on that first. No, it's still a good question because I'm not able to. So essentially, what you can do is if you're working in small files. So the biggest issue with the brain is that you're right. As you step through, as it's trying to find information, it's very, very high level. Like it's looking for keywords that pass in through information. It can lose context very easy. And the bigger your brain gets, obviously, the more complex the information, the bigger the token usage becomes when it's trying to find certain things or run certain actions. There's something you can do, which I think at the moment is in coin, like the infinite brain, where you can.
There's a video we should share on that. Someone's been figuring it out, but go on.
Yeah, well, essentially what you can do is rather than have full context within all of the files that you're uploading and that you're ingesting, you essentially transform it from something that is human readable to LLM readable. So converting files down to almost like 30 to 50 lines. And then you're creating sort of keywords associated with all those to create a much wider gamut of context to connect everything up. So the benefit is that from a brain usage within something like Claude Cowork becomes really, really efficient. You're less tokens and less likely to forget things. The con to it though is that you're now losing the sort of the human legibility. So when you're looking at it through Obsidian, everything is going to be really compacted down. It's going to be all keyword focused and short form hand. So there's 2 ways you can look at it. There is also a hybrid method that you can start to do on top of that, where you need to create more of a database structure. So then it sort of taps into a database before it goes via the information before then it taps into your brain. I haven't built that yet, but that's the sort of the next step beyond it if things start getting too convoluted.
But as we know, like bigger is not better.
Bigger is not better, yeah.
Especially in the world of AI, because you could get the apart from jokes, you do get the needle in the haystack problem. Just because you have a million tokens of context that Gemini and others have, you'll have to go up and you have problems there. Like if you're trying to get an agent to do things, you're better off breaking up a complex item into many different subtasks and then getting the agents to all work on like a part of that step Because two things, and especially if you're getting it recorded or blockchain, because we could verify it, but if things go wrong, you actually get to see where it does go wrong rather than one big black box call. And then you send it away, it comes back, maybe you got things right or not, but just breaking it down helps. So but to your point with the infinite context window, we'll share some videos on what people are doing. I think it's an ongoing space. Some people are solving it for their type of thing and it works well, but for others that have much larger context that they need to put in and they can't summarize it. And, when Claude Code does that thing where it compresses your chat, after you've filled up the context, maybe that's not good enough for certain use cases. So watch this space, but it's certainly something to solve. Are we back?
Kind of back. I'll do a couple of things and then I'll just talk mainly to the presentation. It does walk it through. I've installed just one. I had to do it one at a time. So one of the first steps that we're going to do after you might have installed the skills is then set up a file. I'm going to call mine test brain right now. As we mentioned before, it's got to be in that one location. And then you would have installed something like Obsidian. And so you would end up coming here. When you open it for the first time, you'll pop up with this screen that is say create a vault. But for you'll want to connect to a specific vault. So you'll just either go open or create if you want to do it manually. You'll go to the file where your vault is. You see, where am I? And you'll click to test brain. You'll select folder, and then it would open up sort of a new empty Obsidian dashboard for you.
So an empty brain?
An empty brain as such. So within Claude now, you'll go back to the co-workspace. As you would have done is set up, I've just installed just one now because I won't go through doing each one of these. It's very simple to follow every single step. Don't worry. Right now I've just got the setup step, which is the very first step that you would have done when you've added in the skills. You'll see 5 skills will end up adding in there, and I'll talk to them in a moment. So you'll just end up going here, new task, and the very first skill was setup. So just setup, actions the skill. And then what it'll end up doing is go through the process for you step by step, setting up the file structure, the information that you need to populate within it, and then starting to build up more context for your brain as well. Takes a bit of time. I'm not going to go through and show you the whole thing, but essentially you'll end up with a file structure kind of similar to this set up within your Obsidian. So now what you can do once that step is done, you'll then start to give it context. So one of the first things you'll then, after setup, is you'll go to, after you go through the setup, you will then go to OS operator, which will start setting up all of the information, the tasks, the prompts, finding things about you, the further information. You'll then go to set up, OS optimizer. Every single week, you want to make sure that you're running your LLM through the brain to find things that might be missing, connectors that were broken, connectors that are unnecessary, duplications in content, making sure to keep your brain always lean and clean. The worst thing you want to have, as the question in the back, is that as you put more and more information, things start to get overloaded, context goes out the window, it starts to forget things or not provide you the right information. Making sure you have that cleanup reduces the time to get to that point. And then the last two become one of the most powerful things you can do if you have a team that you want to run this through. So you can set up a team OS. So running the team OS file will then open up the ability to install the relay fork, which then allows you to set up MCPs, which then allows you to add other people into the brain. And you can set limitations on what files and what folders that your team has access to. So is there potentially you have a development team, they're building things, they're creating new tasks every single day. All of that information gets fed into the brain. And so that every single morning when you sit down going, give me all the latest updates, suddenly, boom, out comes all of the changes that were made, anything that you need to approve, all the latest things in your calendar, emails you need to respond to, and then you could create and build additional custom information and actions off the back of that and feed that directly into your brain as you keep going. So why is this important? Because you're starting to build the foundations around AI tooling and AI models that feed and work for you rather than you having to work for it. And that's the biggest thing about this, is trying to have this experience that is tailored to your needs, tailored to your processes, tailored to the things that you're doing in your business and the things that you're doing when working with others. If you have agents running, if you're creating marketing campaigns, if you're answering emails, this is that first step that helps you to make everything that you do more relevant to your business and who you are. So what I did touch on earlier with the question was the issues around that context. So there is another process you can go through to create more of the infinite brain. Obviously, the limitations, as I mentioned before, there is you are now changing a lot of the content from human legibility. So you can traditionally go through, if I look up my Obsidian file here, I might be able to go to one of my wikis to see if I can find something. That was one of the actions that I took. And a lot of this is in sentence structure, right? So I can actually read it. It's legible. I understand it. It's telling me all the information about things that I do and what I know.
I couldn't get online. I didn't want to pay $20 or whatever it was to get on the plane Wi-Fi. And look at that, that's really bright, but like I've built this thing, and would have scared people as, it's a red eye, so we go dark mode. Dark mode doesn't work on that one. Well, there's other ones where dark mode does work, but here's something on prediction markets where I can just click to learn about something that was said for a podcast. So for podcasts, it's great to have Notebook LM, turn things into podcasts, and they do have some presentation mode things. But you can do it yourself on things as well. CGT, which is a very topical thing at the moment. So, I wanted to have something on the different scenarios for CGT, all the way to having, a CGT calculator in there. And this is just Claude Code. You can use Codex, but, any other kind of tool to build this. But the reason I did it on a flight was because I wanted to learn offline. I just wanted to continue with that. And it led me to thinking, well, what happens if I want to have that? And this is a scenario that came up. Here's something that I'm building. It's called Legal Claw. Legal Claw has bits and pieces of it for my law firm. Chris Frankish here is our financial services partner at Madison Marcus I work with. So I'm head of AI, chief AI officer at a law firm, and we're using, third-party tools, but we're also investigating how we can build our own sorts of things. So one of those things might be in terms of doing a chronology. A chronology is where you get all the documents that relate to a particular case, what we call a matter. And did I pray to the demigods? I did. Okay, that's cool. Let's go to one of the fake ones. I won't give you the real stuff. But Chung is not real. Dangerous driving is. So be careful. But these are the different facts that have been extracted, as you can see here, with various sorts of dates in a timeline. And when you can do the facts, you can do things like create these causal chains so you can see the different events. So one thing was this thing being the victim being transported to Westmead Hospital following the motor vehicle accident. Another chain is, and this is like a string of different facts, and you can click and see information that, relates back to those facts there. You can do other tests. So you can do these, what they call counterfactuals. So if it wasn't for certain thing to happen, these other things would not have happened. So, for example, if it wasn't for the collision occurring at 10:46, the accused would not have been arrested because the collision was a precipitating event, blah, blah, blah. The causal mechanism there, what happens if this was removed? You've got 4 points. You've got all of this type of rich analysis that happens with AI. If I was to put this into a Markdown file, agents would be able to read it. Humans would not. I've got this situation where I've got people that are testing this, but the app isn't online, even internally. So it's local host, as you can see here, it's running on my computer. But what I do have is the ability to, let's go to our friend HTML. I click on that and that will download the HTML. And when that opens up, so even if someone doesn't have access to this app, they can still get the interactive experience that just helps them understand better. So as we're testing with lawyers on real cases, the type of stuff that we're doing, this is where HTML becomes really helpful. Especially, eventually people are going to have access to this, that's fine. But another thing that I think where HTML is really useful is the dreaded curse of many a developer called documentation. With Claude Code plus something called Playwright, I was able to, and Playwright is something that can control your computer. So Claude Code looking at the code that it just built for the app, plus Playwright to take screenshots of the app it just built, can do things like this. This is an app where I'm doing this for a client, an unnamed client, but you can see here these screenshots plus the description of what is on this user guide is basically able to do something that would have taken me long. I initially was doing this where it's like, okay, build a HTML file of the user guide, but then I had to insert the screenshots. But then it's like, well, Playwright and other tools are out there. Can you Claude Code just basically log into the app using Playwright and take the necessary screenshots? It even loaded the necessary files for it to be able to look at data in a certain way, because this app is a shell. You need to load CSV files to do some de-identification. But it was able to do all of this itself. Now, I haven't verified it. It only did it today. Chris was pretty impressed with this one when I showed it to him, but it's really cool that it's able to do this. So Claude Code and Playwright, you could do Codex and Playwright. And it's not just Playwright, there's other open source tools that can do the sort of screenshot sharing that you're seeing on screen there. So that is interesting. Another thing, just whilst we're on the, actually, I'll go back to it. Sorry, a few more slides left. This one's interesting, owning your own agent harness. And what that means is like whether you're building with Codex and next month you jump back to Claude Code or you go to like other things. What people are starting to do is building what they're calling like the AI factories. So when you talk to the people or you hear speeches from them, the folks that built Claude Code, they didn't just build Claude Code and necessarily like all of the different features one by one. They actually built different skills so that it would be able to grow and build itself. So just like whether you're building a brain and adding like further skills, I think it's really key. Something that I've been testing, this is the one where it's a bit, maybe it'll work, maybe not, I don't know, let's see. But this is something I'm calling recursive for whatever kind of reason, because it is. The idea came from this because you see other people, they're using AI to actually help build the AI further. And so I'm not always the best one to steer. If the AI can just ask itself and just continue on down a path. There's various methods of this, but I'm showing this because what happens when you actually start to learn how to actually piece these things together yourself is profound. You learn what kind of objects you face in the way as you're trying to build something. So if I start from scratch, build me a tic-tac-toe game that uses, I don't know, 4x4 squares instead of 3 and make it super difficult or something. You might have something like that. I won't even spell it right. I'll use AI to actually generate a better prompt than that and actually fill out the things that it needs to be doing. I'll put this in the tic-tac-toe folder that's already been prepared. With this, I've got Haiku on there. I'll say max iterations at 20 because I don't want to just let it run and run and run. And this is one of those things, like if you just set these up and you just give it a goal and let it go crazy, sure, it's only like cents on the dollar, but it could add up a lot. And so I've got a limitation there. And what it'll do now in the screen here, it'll actually start to create the commands where it's actually doing the work. So iteration 1 of 20, I'll start by understanding the current state. There's nothing in the file, or it'll look up what's in that folder. In this case, there is some stuff, but it's a different game. And then I'm giving it 20 chances, and when it hits the 20, which we might get depending on how fast it goes, it's up to 6 at the moment. What'll happen is that it stops and it asks, do you want to continue? And in that kind of controlled method, you don't go too crazy with these things. We'll come back to it whilst it's doing that. But that concept of having agents being able to do stuff also lends itself into what we're doing with this internal tool, Legal Claw. For fans of OpenClaw, that's why we got the name of it here. But for example, you can see it when you go to things like research. So I've got these different researchers that are going to do stuff for me. I'll actually just use these 3 just for now. But let's say that, we're here in the Oz blockchain and AI community. I have a client who wants to trade crypto on behalf of SMSFs in Australia, but is not licensed. Okay, not good. I could tell you, yeah, that's not the right thing to do there. But let's just say that's the query. We've got something where you can refine it. There are ways that you could actually take this and say have it break down into various steps. But for now, let's just say it's for they want to act as a custodian. It's personal advice. What is your primary compliance concern? Whether license is required. Okay, so we'll enhance the query. It'll do the enhancement. I'll copy that one and I'll use that query. It's which area of law are we looking at? I actually don't know because I'm not a lawyer, but I am chief AI officer at a law firm, which is fun. Chris can tell you. Which area is this, Chris?
Oh, they're regulatory.
Regulatory for the win. And we'll go Australia there. Now, these two things here, autonomous versus supervised. Supervised means that every time it comes to a gate where it's like, I need the human to check this work, it's going to show the human, the lawyer, etc., and then ask you a question. Autonomous, which is what we'll leave it in. We'll just continue with that. I'm going to use Legal Data Hunter. For those playing at home, I'll show you here. This is a great data set, especially if you're trying to do something in the world of law. And sorry for the brightness, but these guys have indexed currently 26 million cases from around the world. About 50% of Australian cases. So if I click on the country of Australia, how good did we do in the Eurovision? Shout outs to Delta. 52% of Australia's legal, like courts and legislation bodies, etc., are on there. And where it does not have it, that's where you can just manually get the data or enter some other sort of agreement. But anyway, we're tapping into that. So we're going to tap into that. Don't worry about the Aussie stuff. There's experiments being done there, but it is terms of service you do break if you're just going directly to Aussie. So we probably won't do that. But there are other providers there. So I'm going to just do the settings here. I'm going to let them run. What is happening basically is that they will start to find the cases. They are searching using MCP servers, Legal Data Hunter. MCP servers for many things are going to be so useful. In this case, it's found a case, it's retrieving the document. What I actually get them to do in the background when you do the supervised mode is that they tell you, I've found these 20 cases. Which one do you want? And it gives you a summary of the cases so you don't have to read it all. Then you can pick. Or in this case, it's doing its reading itself. But getting it to not just get all of the data, like being really careful with how you lay things out. If you just use an MCP to do this thing completely from scratch, you would see a big black screen here and it just wouldn't be very useful. You would just be waiting. You can go off and make a coffee, go off and see clients, but then it's not actually going to be really helpful if a user is sitting in front of the screen. So by breaking the MCP server up into a bunch of API calls plus some MCP calls, because MCPs do have advantages, you can use natural language versus just APIs, but breaking it down into smaller steps means that you can share with the user, like you're seeing on screen here, things that are happening. So it's found 4 cases, it's found 5. The next agents will do their work and then they'll debate amongst themselves. And what you'll end up seeing is a higher quality memo on that question that we just posed than if you were to just ask ChatGPT or Claude. Maybe you'll get some better results on thinking mode, but this is where you're building these things for yourself, because in the legal AI space, there's billions of dollars that the space is valued at, and a very expensive kind of world that we work in. And so some people, just like in finance, the world of finance, you would have Bloomberg terminals, and some smaller shops couldn't afford a Bloomberg terminal, so they would have one. Some bigger banks would have everyone with a Bloomberg terminal. We're seeing the same thing in the legal AI space. It is one of the fastest growing in terms of AI being applied to the industry. Follow the folks at Legal Quants on LinkedIn, Legal Quants. I think it's one word, but like Raymond Sun, many others are in that space overseas and here. It's lawyers building things like this. I'm a tech guy trying to build legal things. Lawyers know so much more. I reckon I'll build better. So that's my big call there. The devil's advocate doing its work here. It's showing its findings. So it found some information from a case. You can see here all of the findings, all of the facts that it's doing. And then eventually, my screen's kind of blocked it. Okay, I can see. You'll see it going back and forth with itself. When I give it documents, it will review the documents, debate amongst each other, answer things based on what the other agents have said about that debate. It'll refute, each other, and it's really interesting to see. But there's a few people that are doing this sort of thesis where instead of like one big call, having multiple calls, like you can have a small agent like Haiku or even like GPT Mini get you really high quality answers if you just lay out the workflow in a nice way, like you're seeing here. But anyway, as that's working in the background, all things are being recorded, not onto blockchain yet, but you know, in future. And so like we'll let that one finish and just go back to this. And I guess the final things are that, yeah, as I said, build factories, not apps. Test out these things, even if all you're doing is just co-work, or you are dabbling with Claude Code or Codex, or you know even Copilot and some of the things that are going on there. Just make sure that you're using AI in the work that you're doing, and then just remember the final thing: everything in AI has a trade-off. So even though you are saving time on things, maybe your token expense is really high. And so these are the sorts of things that you need to consider. Like I've heard this, there's a famous saying, I guess it's like in the AI space. I spent $700 in tokens to recreate a $9 a month app, you know, that I was paying for. So you've got to really think about what the trade-off is here for what it is that you're doing, because maybe it's not worth it, but maybe the learning journey that you go on, the things that you'll be able to build once you've got these Lego blocks is worth it. So that's something to consider. So anyway, my name is Mark. That has been another Oz Blockchain and AI Network event. Speaking of network, we get to the networking part here. So join me in thanking all of our amazing guests and hosts, and thank you so much for joining us. All right, go finish the pizzas. There's a ton of garlic bread as well. And if you don't want to eat it now, please do take some home. Oz Blockchain, you get